is Larry Armstrong. I'm the 6th child of Leo and Hazel Armstrong, and I was born August the 9th in 1952. So if you have a car that age, same as me. This here's my wife, Peggy.
Hi.
We've been married for
13 years.
13 years, and actually today is her birthday. Happy birthday, babe.
I'm 39 again.
Whenever I think of my mom's food, it was always fried chicken with that milk gravy and cornbread. Man, I can taste it right now. And then we had some pork loin sandwiches now and then. If we were going to go somewhere on a trip, she'd always pack those, and we'd want to get into them before we even got out of the driveway. And then I remember for my birthday, she used to always make a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. That was always a given, and that's about it.
Very good. Do you remember anything that the other Armstrong wives made? Was there anything in particular they made that you liked, or that you remember at reunions that people would bring?
That Naomi used to always make things that was out of the ordinary. She would take a green onion and some kind of sour cream or cream cheese, one or the other thing, and wrap it with some kind of bologna or meat of some sort, and I wouldn't eat it. I don't know what it was called or where she's seen it before, but it was something that she thought it was pretty cool, and people did eat it. It wasn't just left there, so it must have been okay, but I wouldn't touch it.
Funny.
I remember we had a big get together. We were supposed to have it was supposed to have been a meal with I think it was Randy. We were supposed to take him out to dinner at Whitey's, and then all of a sudden we all start showing up at their house, and they're getting really nervous about it because they somehow have to get rid of us before they can go out to dinner. And then we let the cat out of the bag and say, no, we're here to have a party. And is that the same time? I wonder if when Diane was hidden outside too. I don't remember if that was the time we snuck Diane there and surprised him or not. But anyway, I know I did my Mr. Rogers. I was just thinking it's always a funny thing to me. Mr. Rogers was always so calm and collected, but things were funny with him. And so I put together a little thing for Mom and Dad, and then after that I did it a few times for the church too, and they got a kick out of it as well. I just had to change a few things around, but it worked out pretty good. And I know, but my dad wasn't really feeling good that day. You see him in the video always coughing and kind of clearing his throat and whatnot, but I think he had a good time that day.
Neighbor, would you mind? It's a neighborly day in the beauty woods, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. Always wanted to live in the neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, you might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hi neighbors. Today this show is going to be dealt with family. This is a family type show, so we're going to deal with family. And like you guys are my neighbors, and families are kind of like neighbors, only closer. In fact, Mr. Rogers is even more special because I've got a neighbor who's also family. Mr. Rogers is pretty special. I think he's probably the special one, but anyway. So today we're going to, in the land of make-believe, I'm going to be a pencil. I'm going to write a letter to my mom and dad And what you got to do is you got to stand up really straight and tall. Get up on your tippy toes, because that's the pointy part. And you just kind of write yourself a little letter. Dear Mom, I misspelled something here. That's not a very good thing. It's make-believe, so I didn't do that. It's make-believe, and so it's make-believe I didn't do it. And what else? Oh yeah, family, there's some things that you like to do, and then there's this thing called chores. That's something you don't you don't like to do, but if you don't, you get smacked. So like Mr. Rogers here, I have to, every day, I've got to feed Mr. Fish. That's a chore. I don't always enjoy this, but it's something I have to do. Except today I don't have to, because Mr. Fish is dead. You know, we can still have fun with Mr. Fish. In fact, we can make Mr. Fish do things now that he could never do when he was alive. Like watch this. He always missed when he was alive. And he could be a movie star too. Watch this. Ah, Jaws! What an actor! But it's time to get serious now about Mr. Fish, because he's really starting to stink. There's basically 3 ways to dispose of Mr. Fish. One would be to dig a grave and throw him in the hole and cover him up, and that's so much like people. He's not people. We could flush him down the toilet. That's always a good thing to do with smelly things you don't want around anymore. Or what you could do, I know what we could do, we could feed him to Mr. Cat. That way, Mr. Cat will have his meal for the day. Hey, Mr. Fish, don't mind, do you, Mr. Fish? The only problem with that, though, is if Mr. Fish is poisonous, Mr. Cat will die too. Which isn't all that bad either, because then you can get a pet you really want, like a puppy or a computer. Anyway, we'll worry about that some other time. And also, another strange thing about family is, like, I've got lots of brothers and sisters. There's only one mom and dad. I mean, it's like one person, a mother, and one dad, and there's like 8 children, and none are the same. I don't understand that. I mean, like, it should be like this, all exactly the same. Like this is the way I would do, I'm a little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out. Now I've got a brother, now same mother and father. And also, another strange thing about family is, like, I've got lots of brothers and sisters. There's only one mom and dad. I mean, it's like one person, a mother, and one dad, and there's like 8 children, and none are the same. I don't understand that. I mean, like, it should be like this, all exactly the same. Like this is the way I would do, I'm a little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out. Now I've got a brother, now same mother and father. His name's Randy. You got a brother named Randy?
Yeah.
I thought you did. Now this is the way my brother Randy would do it. I'm a little fart bag, short and stout. Guess where my handle is? That's also my spout. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, Sean! Anyway, that's enough for the family today. We've done enough, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll start the day tomorrow with a song. or tomorrow. We'll start the day tomorrow with a song for you. Till then, I hope you're feeling happy. Till then, I hope your day is snappy. Tomorrow, we'll start the day tomorrow. It will be our day. We will say, everyone, a very happy tomorrow to you. Thank you very much.
It's my brother and my two older sisters, and we're standing on the well pit of the house on Allen Road in Clarkston, Michigan. 59. I'm 7 years old still. I don't know where Diane is. She must be sleeping or something, but she was there at that time. I remember when I was a kid, I used to open up that well pit and catch frogs and toads that would be down in there. I'd take a needle and bend it into a hook shape, tie it to some sewing string, and let it down there with a little bit of red yarn on it and shake it up and down, and they'd jump on that thing and I'd catch them left and right. It's a wonder I didn't get electrocuted down there, because everything was electrical and there was always water standing, and I'm down there playing in it, so so wonder they didn't find me dead down there one day, but the Lord's looking out for me, I guess. And then me playing football. I was never very good at it, but I liked the game. It was a fun game to play. I liked the teamwork of it and stuff, but I just never was good enough to really be first string or anything. But it was a good experience. And then we're at our house at Dixie Highway. I graduated in 1970, and my mom and dad just got that house within like a year's time of that, I believe. And it was a whole different place from the farm to the Dixie Highway, where traffic, and it took us a long time to get used to all the noise, the trucks and stuff that was going by, and never thought we would, but we finally did. Oh yeah. Also on Dixie Highway, we have that lake back there, and I used to love to fish. I used to fish every day that I could, and in the picture there, it's where I used to cast out and leave the line out overnight, and twice I caught dogfish that way overnight. They'd be on the line, and then one time I was pulling in a bullhead, and one of those snapping turtles was attached to it. So I caught a catfish and a turtle. I had turtle soup and catfish that day, I guess. And then we have the photo of the brothers, and that's over at Randy's house. And I think I was about the same year I graduated, I believe. And we all look a lot slimmer and healthier, and then I got the next photo of where we took Mom down to Missouri for the last time, and we're at a restaurant, and we're a whole lot heavier, and it seemed to be still as happy as ever, but it's a big difference in weight wise.
Well, my name's Creta Johnston. I was Creta Steiner when I helped raise all the kids except the two youngest ones that was born in Ridgeway.
The two spoiled ones?
The two youngest
youngest,
brothers and sisters. I didn't grow up with them, or they didn't grow up with me. But anyway, Hazel got real ambitious one day, and she got her mother's scissors and was cutting her shoe up.
Probably didn't want to wear the things.
Probably.
And when you caught her, what did you do?
Oh, I didn't. It was her mother.
And what did her mother say?
I got the left hand.
I wasn't there, so I don't know. She just told me about it.
Oh.
I didn't know I did anything like that.
You didn't. Well, I told you I didn't know it
Well,
wasn't.
here my kids thought I was perfect.
That was the worst. That was the worst thing she did.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
she was a sweet kid.
But what did you think of when she met that young guy named Leo?
Well, I wasn't around then. I was married and gone.
Oh.
Is this Leo?
Leo? No, that's my son Gary. My husband's gone. He passed away 5 years
I
ago.
did know that. Yeah.
So if you know any mean stories, you can go ahead and tell us about that too.
That's the only mean story.
Well, she didn't know him.
Oh, she didn't know Leo?
No.
Oh.
Because if
You were
if
in
you'd
the
ever met him, you would have remembered.
Didn't know Leo? Here he is right here.
Yeah, right.
Fishing with that rascal.
I thought she said was that, what do you got?
Well,
The Missouri worm.
there's Gary and there's
I
the
know
worm.
what I was telling.
Which one's worms and which one's Gary?
Yeah, I've had
Oh yeah.
Oh, the curly one.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's slippery.
Well, anyway,
Oh, that's nice.
Regarding Leo, it's my earliest memories was of a man that was always working and came home late, and usually the man that came home and yelled at me. "You get your chores done yet? Have you done this? Have you done that?" And sometimes I would say yes, and I hadn't, and he would find out. And I think that's how I learned about doing what you're told, doing your job, and do it quickly because it's got to be done. And so then later on in life, he got the machine shop, and I kind of grew up with that kind of background, with him. And then he got sick and he had that heart attack, and we wasn't sure whether we could carry on or not, and so my mom said, "Well, just try to do what you can." And come to find out, I actually learned enough to actually be able to run the shop, and we were doing okay. That's the but the main thing I remember about Dad was mostly the farm life. That was what he used to have some cows over in another man's field, and it was Mr. Moyer, and he would, I don't know why the man let him use his property, but he had several cows over there, and this man had like 3 horses, and my dad would, I guess, semi take care of the horses in order maybe to keep the cows there. I'm not sure what the deal was they had worked out, but I remember one time we were trying to get a cow in the barn, and this guy used to golf a lot that owned the property, and so you'd find golf balls in the pasture now and then. And so this cow was just giving us a hard time going in the barn. I mean, you could just see she'd get right to the door, and you could see her eyeballs get big, and then she'd just take off. And so finally my dad had enough. He picked up a golf ball and he slung it at her, and he hit her right in the butthole. And I mean, this cow ran into the barn right then. I mean, no more playing around. She was in the barn. And so I ran up there and I went to close the door, and she's standing there, and the golf ball is embedded. And then all of a sudden it just boop and pops out. And my dad told me, he says, "Larry," he says, "nobody's going to ever believe that story. I mean, it's just impossible. No one will ever believe it because it is impossible for what we've seen. But it's true. I'm here to swear it is true. It happened." And I'm sure other people have seen Dad throw before and hit things that never could believe he could do. But I mean, he never played golf, so that was his only hole in one, I'm certain. And then as far as my mom goes, I remember way back when she used to take me. I was probably like 3 or 4, and she'd had a special place for me to stand to let the cows in. She'd say, "You stand right there and they won't bother you." And they'd always hungry, so when they came in, they came charging in, and I'd be scared, but I'd stay in my little spot, and 9 times out of 10 they would leave me alone. But every once in a while one would come up and smell me or something, just to and I said, Mom, you just stand still, and that was okay. I know if I'd have got out of there, I would have got trampled, because the cows was just crazy about stuff. And then when she'd sit there and she'd milk the cows, and she'd be singing, and the cows would just relax and just give the milk away, and you could tell she enjoyed doing that. It seemed like awful hard work to me, but to her, she seemed to be, it was something she loved to do. And then the one time I had a friend over, and we were down in the swamp, and we were climbing these trees, these willow trees, and I slipped and fell, and my ankle got wedged in, and I was upside down hanging. And so my friend went, the only one home was Mom, naturally, and she wasn't real tall, so she had to wedge herself up there to get me up, and then she got my foot out, and I fell to the ground, but luckily I didn't die that day. So yeah, there was a lot of love in that house, but it was a good time. There was one shop experience I should share though with my dad. There was a certain part that we had to make for this company, and it was always hard to do. I mean, it was a never come easy. It was always hard, and it was the part was coming due. The company was needing these parts, and so my dad was working on it, and it just wasn't going together at all. And he was having a terrible day. And a man came into the office and said, "I want to talk to you about cemetery lots." And you talk about bad timing. I mean, my dad was not in the mood to hear about cemetery lots. And so he said, "I don't have time to listen to you right now, sir. I'm really busy." And the guy got offended. The guy said something like, "You can kiss my And right about then, my dad got him by the scruff of the neck and by the back of the pants and actually threw him out of the office. And so he comes back out and he's shaking his head and he's thinking and he's shaking his head. And then he comes up and he says, I shouldn't have done that. And I says, well, don't you kind of feel better though? And he goes, I do. I really do. And then they started working on that thing, and it fell into place, and the rest of his day was a really good day. We don't know the man's name or anything about it, but I guess there's a reason for everybody in your life, and that was his reason to give my dad a better day.
He never bought the plots from him?
He didn't buy those plots. No, he didn't. As far as my siblings, like Ron and Gary, all I remember of them is that they were in the Coast Guard. And they sent my mama a plant. I don't know whether it was like for Mother's Day or some special occasion, but she got that and she had the tears coming down her eyes. And I said, "What they send you, onions, Mom?" And it was some kind of a plant, and I'm thinking, why are you crying for? But little did I realize, how you miss somebody that's away like that. And then Gary got married first, and so he brought Hilda down to meet the family and whatnot, and I didn't like her, and so I'd set up booby traps. I would set things up over doorways where if she were to open a door, it would hit her in the head and stuff. Oh, that probably never worked. But I'd be crying at night, and Barbara, why are you crying? And I said, well, she's taking our brother away. He won't be our brother anymore, and so then she tried to reassure me and stuff that he still would be our brother, but I didn't believe it. I figured she was taking him away, and then we'd never see him again. And then your mother married Ron second, and then I understood. It was funny because she came to our house and we met her, and she said, "I come here to ask for your son's permission for your son to get married to me," and something like that, and so Randy yells out, "Well, she didn't say which son." and so she said, "Well, Larry, if I married you, what would you, what would we?" And I said, "Well, all I can do is catch frogs, so I guess we have a lot of frog legs." But that was oh my gosh, I was just a little kid back then, so I didn't really. And then Naomi used to read these Bible books to me at night when we go to bed at night, and she would read these Bible books to us and stuff. But Barbara was like my little mother, I guess, because she was always holding me and taking care of me and looked out for me and stuff. And a lot of times, because Randy's my next brother, we didn't get along too good, and so if I needed his help, I'd ask Barbara because she could kick his butt at that time. But then she got married too. They all leaving the house, So then Randy, not too many good experiences with Randy. He always was one up on me because I'm sure it was all pulled on him from the other ones, and so he knew all the tricks and all the things to pull, and so it was all new to me, and so I fell for everything. And then 5 years later, Diane came along, and she always. It was 5 years difference, a lot of years difference, and so things I wanted to do, she wanted to tag along, but she was just too young to do, and for catching snakes and frogs, that's not a kid, a little girl thing to do, and then Dick came along, and I'd take him along for that kind of stuff, but I felt bad for Diane. She was just in the middle and didn't have really any females that could hang with her.